Okay, aloha everyone. This is Miracle King. I'm just chomping on a little bit of some moringa from my land. Oh yeah. Moringa has so many antioxidants, so many minerals the body needs. Daily moringa, fresh, absolute natural intelligence food right here. Oh yes. And holy spring water. Just every day drinking the most magical, Hanuman blessed 8.8 pH alkaline spring water here from the Sacred Valley of the North Shore of Bali. So it's been a minute since I've actually been on screen. There's been a lot going on. And this particular miracle has been absolutely busy beyond belief. But it's all been super good on so many angles. And I really felt called today as we move into this solstice window to talk about the good, the bad, and ugly love. As we can see, we're in this moment of time where so much is continuously breaking down. Disorganized chaos, things are falling apart, and we're seeing it on all aspects of life. And at the same time, there's so much incredible new now gifts that are unfolding right before our very eyes, and so many cracks in sort of the system that has been what we've known, the matrix of what we've known. And that is ultimately such a good thing, because we have to get into this muck and this mire of this chaos that's going on. And you know, we're just one family now. There's no like, oh, I'm spiritual, oh, you're material, oh, you're good, oh, you're bad. I mean, there's so much conspiracy reality happening. It's not even theory, it's actually happening. Like it's happening now. So, as I was saying, there are no boundaries between the good, the bad, spiritual, material. Everything is moving and merging and marrying into one giant, gloppy, epic, stir the whole unconditional love pot. And that's essentially what ugly love is all about, which is the theme for this summer of 2024. And as I pulse to you and have been pulsing, I have shifted timelines from being in the North Shore of Bali on my Shambali land all the way into a full-time warp into this sacred garden of Camelot here in Singapore. in these epic gardens that have been my home. The reason why this video was half in Bali and half in Singapore was basically I recorded this epic video in Bali for about 30 minutes, and as you can see, I left a little bit of what happened when a whole family of about 25 monkeys came onto my property and basically surrounded my daybed where I was doing the transmission, and I continued to just be present with you, and the monkeys were jumping up and down and playing, and they bring a whole epic, powerful, primordial morphogenic field whenever they cross my land, and they stay for like an hour and then they move on. The animal primate energies was just like, no technology now. You must play with monkeys and get into the animal world. And so basically, yeah, I was talking about the other 6 kingdoms, and the animal kingdom wanted me to go and be fully present. So, and as you can see, the technology just went all wonky and went into the full like molasses of infinite slow time. So here we are in a new moment, and I want to continue this conversation, this epic transmission about what it means to be in ugly love. So we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. That was a famous Clint Eastwood film, or Clint Eastwood starred in it in the 70s, which was one of my favorite Western films. The point I'm trying to make is that we've been in a time of real ugliness, and if you look at the screen and everything that's kind of been on the main socials, from social videos to social Instagram to Facebook, TikTok, all these things, you know, everything is kind of, for the most part, gotten really ugly. Now, obviously, there's still really incredible positive things that are expressed, and I use socials for that. But as far as like the mass media, even the more decentralized media or the alternative media, a lot of it has gotten so freaking confusing. Even though we know this whole thing is one giant game and this human illusion that we have created and co-created with existence. And yet at the same time, we can't help but just be like, wow, whoever's been playing the game on the screen, I mean, it's getting really, really bad. And it's getting really, really ugly. And the quest is how can we find beauty? And the only real way we can find beauty and discover the beauty way again is off the screen. There are moments where I enjoy the screen, but those moments compared to like 10, 15 years ago, like they're getting lesser and lesser. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but it seems like I really have to co-create my own intuitive algorithm and know when to go on to really get positive news, positive information, or go to certain sites, certain social sites that are strictly more towards positivity, more towards upliftment. But more and more, those are all being filtered by AI and algorithmized out of my sphere of screen influence. And I've also noticed that all of these powers that be, so to speak, of ignorant confusion are really making it difficult to presence oneself on the screen. And the beauty way is really off the screen these days. You know, it's in my gardens, it's probably in your gardens, it's with your children, it's with your families. There's a lot of desire to have to go into the void to co-create what is the new earth, what is this new world atmosphere, what is this new planetary frequency, and if I were to create it and you were to create it, what would that look like? And people say it's 5D, it's 9D, it's all these numbers with a D on it, but the fact is it's multidimensional. There is no D on this. It's basically you determining, that's the only D that I would consider, determining what it is that you want to choose for your destiny. What is your choice in relationship to how you wish to not only see the world, as it is currently without bypassing it, but also what is the future world for you? What is the future planet looking like for you? What is the future new now Earth looking for you? And that's in every moment, and that's co-created with your family, that's co-created with your community, that's co-created with your tribe, that's co-created with your workmates, your community, whatever it is. And what I found is that I have had to really fine-tune my synapses to go into how will I use the fertilizer of all this ugliness? How will I compost it to feel the fire of creation, to feel the light of this consciousness that wants to move out of the void that all of us are co-creating right now. So we're getting to the edge of the timelines where we have to go inside and collectively mentally rehearse what it is that we wish to desire and see in the world, and out it pops, out it moves into our hologram together as one. And this, more than ever, is why I feel that ugly love and just embracing ugly love is so important, or ugly compassion, because there are a lot of really ugly things happening in the world right now, from the economic situation, from the threats of World War III, to the constant talk about another pandemic, another, medical pandemonic, all these different things, the conspiracy theories that are all merged and melded together, and all the alternative realities all merged and melded together with all the AI deep fakes, and you have no idea on screen if that person really said it or not, and that goes with art, that goes with music, that goes with presenters of information, whether it's true or not. Everything is becoming this fertilizer of compost that smells really bad. Even if it's truth, it smells really bad. And obviously we know lies are lies because we can see through the lies, we can hear through the lies, we can feel through the lies. And I think all those lies are giving us the determining factor to choose with our free will. And this is the key point, is we have free will still. We have free will to choose. We're here to preserve free will for future generations. We're here to preserve the power of choice in a hominoid body. And when we can choose to love through the ugliness, when we can choose to use that energy and push it through the birthing canal. I mean, it is like a birth. And obviously we've been in birth for decades. I would even say centuries, but it's all coming to this climactic point. And all the different elements that are going out of control, the wind, the water, the waves, the soil, the ether, the spirit, all of these things are actually congealing into this poignant paradox. And I've talked about this before. And the reason why we need this chaotic paradox is because it's forcing us to get so distilled into the moment that the only way that we can move through or metamorphosize this ugliness, when we have no idea what's coming out of it, is to fully embrace pure supernal love. And supernal love is the love that moves us beyond all timelines, that moves us beyond all space, that moves us beyond all shifts of whether it's good or bad, or whether it's bad or good, that we take no action when it's called for, and that we take concerted action when it's fully aligned, when it's a full fuck yes, okay? And that's really what it is in this moment. We have to master this distillation of time that's collapsing. And it's collapsing for so many of us all around the world. Even if we thought that, oh yeah, we had this thing going on for 10 years, or we had a way of making money for 3 or 4 years, and that's how it's always going to be. And, for example, I've had so many cards not work, or scammers. I've never dealt with scammers in years, and all of a sudden, the cards are disappearing. I can't use them because the scam networks are going crazy. There's been all kinds of financial snafus. I don't know about you, but you probably felt that in areas and at times the internet just doesn't work. Like full bars, either on the phone or on the screen, connected, and it's just so slow and it's just not happening. There is a great messaging that's coming from the seventh heaven, which is the great central sun, and it's penetrating the unified field with all the different neutrinos and obviously the different levels of solar flares that have been routinely hitting our planet non-stop for the last several months, and it's not going to stop. And it's literally this direct messaging from the great central sun that's saying you have to deal with your shadow, you have to deal with the ugliness, you have to deal with how do you create beauty in this terrible, ugly, pitiful, spiteful, bitter, without going into victimhood, without going into judgment, without going into shame or blame or guilty or proven innocent, all of this stuff, the judgment, this anger and frustration that's coming out because the system is no longer working as it was. And it's ugly. It's supernal ugly. So if it's going to go supernal ugly, then it is our birthright to move deeper into our soul, into our Christ light, and really marry that Lord and Lady Christ within our hearts and our sacred heart, and bring out that ho'oponopono, bring out that forgiveness, bring out that maikai, which means righteousness, to do the right thing and take action when it's called for, and to bring the aloha, which is that supernal love, which is that shared breath, which is that connection that we all have as humans, as simplified humans, desiring to connect at the soul level, to exchange at the soul level, to interact at the soul level, to share food at the soul level, to barter at the soul level, to exchange goods and services at the soul level, because there's going to be potentially a point where we are going to have to exercise only exchanges at the soul level. We won't have the digits on the screen to exchange. In fact, money may very soon become worthless, and yet it is still cash is king, coin is queen. And so these things are tangible objects that we can share with one another, and they multiply. The more we share something like physical currency, it multiplies. And the difference is when you share digital currency, like a potential CBDC, well, what happens is every time you make an exchange, it gets less and less, because every single one of those transfers owned by a corporation or a bank is taking a percentage. So every time you exchange like $100, it ends up being 50 exchanges, and it ends up being worth like $20. Whereas if you're still using fiat currency, the love that you share when you buy kombucha or when you buy that meal at that amazing vegan vegetarian restaurant or whatever restaurant, farm to table, it actually continues on. It moves forward. The energy continues because it's a tangible three-dimensional object. So I bring this up because this is also part of the ugly love transmission, is that we have to embrace these currencies. We have to embrace the exchange. We have to merge and marry into timelines where maybe it's very uncomfortable, it's difficult. And of course, we can do the meditations, we can practice, continue going into the void to co-create our existence, to mentally rehearse what it is that we truly desire and want. That is a given. That is a daily practice. It's also a nightly astral dreamtime practice, right? As I've talked about. But now we have to embrace that, because the energy is literally, the good and the bad is just mashing and mashing and mashing together, and it's going to continue throughout this year and potentially get more intense, and it could potentially get more worse in its bad and goodness and badness. For example, in my own life, recently I applied through the Indonesian government to work with a visa agent company to get a kitas, which is a working visa, so I can start actually creating financial resources here in Indonesia. And after about 5 months and getting other friends involved with this company, we realized that it was turning into a scam. Like, the person was super heart-centered and a beautiful person, but when it came to competence and absolute lack thereof, it became negligent. And we realized that the mind was completely distorted. And so we had to go through this huge process of attempting to claim our money back, get a refund. And anyways, it was an extremely frustrating process for all involved, including myself. It was a realization that fraud, scamming, all this kind of stuff is happening. And it's also distilling into the root chakra. It's distilling into the fact that like 20,000 US dollars scammed from you out of, you know, the whole group of us. It's a frequency and vibration that's being taken, and it's being promised to be paid back, but it's never. It's just continuously in this loop pattern. And finally, I realized that the only way to do this is to actually get into love, because it was turning so ugly that I decided to get everyone involved into Ho'oponopono and start just going into the prayer field and stop interacting with this company and these people in charge of this company from a three-dimensional point of view, because it was going nowhere, and just move our energy from the multi-D. And finally we started getting traction, and we just kept doing the Ho'oponopono. We kept sending love into the ugliness. We kept sending compassion and forgiveness, and kept moving the energy, no matter if we just felt so ridiculously off about the whole thing. We had to find it in our sacred heart, not just in our human heart, to love these beings unconditionally. And then things started to shift, and we started to receive some of our funds back in this process. Another example is we decided actually to receive, in synchronicity, amazing, beautiful new Persian cat, this mama bear cat. And it turns out that she was pregnant. And so we had set up everything in a certain area of our epic villa space where she could just be at. And at first she was like all into that space, and it was all great. And we thought everything was going to plan, right? And I was about to fly out of Bali, and I figured, okay, well, you know, the rest of my community can take care of her. It's all good. And it turns out 3 days before I'm flying out, everyone left the property. I was home alone, and she just comes up to me. She goes into my villa and goes into the dirtiest place. Talk about ugly love. She comes into the dirtiest spot in my entire villa, which is my uncleaned fire pit, which is like a womb. And she obviously was looking for a cave because she's birthing. This mama bear Persian feline knows more than anything about what she needs. And I had to trust her because she's very intelligent and super intuitive. And this was going to be her 4th litter. And basically, like, I just had to surrender my whole day. I had meetings. In fact, the meeting that I had with another beautiful sister ended up turning up to be the full meeting to be doulas for this mama Persian to birth 5 beautiful starlight white pure Persian kitties into form. And I had to cancel the whole day. And of course, like, in the whole midst of this, I was kind of going a little bit crazy, because I was just like, this is turning really ugly. Placentas were everywhere, and umbilical cords around the first little kitty that came out, and I had to unwind that, and then I was taking them to try to wash it off, and then placenta fell on the floor, and it just got super ugly, and it was super chaotic. But at the same time, it was like, wow, it was my first experience of actually being around a birth. I've been around human births, but obviously not a doula, not in the actual process of a human birth, but around holding space, several of these with music, sound, vibration, prayer, but not where I was actually holding these beings coming out of the mother's womb and having to like drop my analytical mind with all the meetings I had for that day and just like figure out like, oh my God, this place is super dirty. And you know, and then I realized, like, when I finally settled in and the first baby came out, it was just this beautiful experience. It was just mind-blowing, heart-expanding. Can't describe it. It was a beautiful feline, which she's more than just a cat. She's a Lyran star being, queen of the highest of the high. But that being said, it was ugly love. It was really humbling. And it was also turned out just to be an amazing day where several other members of my tribe came through and they really held space, and all of us got to get together to be in that birthing love. And it was just like, it was like a whole midwife, and we shared tea and some food, and it made it into this beautiful day where we got to just honor the birth of this litter of amazing new felines. So, these are just a couple examples. I know a lot of you are going through a lot of ugly love right now, and things are being thrown upside down. Energy is supposed to go left and it goes right. Things that are supposed to go forward are going backward. Things that are backward are going forward. And I think we're going to have to really master this paradox more than ever before as we move through the rest of 2024. Potential for things imploding is right at the crest of the edge. And of course, we have to survive. We have to thrive. We have to take care of our needs. We have to do whatever we need to do to take care of our families and our children. But at the same time, I invite you to really reach out to your local community. Reach out to your neighbors. Reach out and really solidify a way to come together with your fellow humans. No matter the differences, find a way to discover Ho'oponopono, the art of making things more than right in conflict resolution, the Hawaiian Huna way. And I think this is more than ever before still crucial to all of us moving forward. And I also really feel that in ugly love, we have to find a way to be the beauty in ugly love. Even though everyone around us in a certain situation is in ugliness and we're attempting to find love in that, someone has to be a pillar for the beauty way. We have to stay in that walking in the unknown where the beauty resides. The beauty resides in the unknown. The beauty resides in the infinite void. The beauty resides in the formlessness. And then be able to have the composure and the coherent wisdom and congruency to exhibit that quality. It's okay to react. It's okay to go through your emotional wave, but come back into homeostasis. Continue to do your work, your practices. Continue to be in the vibrational alignment of the frequencies so that you can address the love in the ugliness. Because that's coming from a state of beauty. That's coming from a state of walking in beauty. That's coming from a state of all worlds and timelines collapsing. And do the inner mental rehearsal work every night in the dream time and every day during the daydream to be able to script what you see as your new now earth. How does it feel? What does it look like for you? And this is more important than ever before to do this work, because as things go chaotic, they're going to get chaotic. It's already happening. We're in a massive birthing trimester right now. And right now, it is more important than ever for to not only visualize on the outer, but to inner mentally rehearse as if you're on stage. And this is a whole game, which it is. What is it that you wish to see for this world? For your local community that is part of this world? For your local tribe that is part of this world? For your local friends and family that are part of this world? How do you see the movement forward if things collapse from the old way of playing the game and the old game itself, the hologram, the illusion itself? And what does that new game look like as you operate in it? What does that system look like as you move forward in it, when you move forward with others who are choosing to play the game in a different way? Because we're here to co-create, we're here to collaborate. It's not a solo lone wolf thing anymore. And I know more than ever, everyone's scrambling for money, scrambling for finances, scrambling for resources. And you gotta let go of the egg scramble. You gotta just let it go and find a way to get into an inner saturation of no. The biggest opportunity is right here. If I can stay in the autonomic nervous system, if I can stay in that zero still point, if I can stay in that zero still point of infinite light, that zero light, that's the brightest light in the darkest night. And that is what is crucial as we move through this solstice window into the rest of 2024. And I want to invite each and every one of you that no matter what comes up to distract you, no matter what comes up to try to pull you out of that center, don't bypass it, but also do not give it power. Do not react to the point where you give your power away. If you have to react because it triggers something, react and then come back after your wave is done and emotionally stabilize, be in your emotional intelligence, be in your emotional resilience, continue to breathe. That epic prana, mana, that sacred air that is so precious, and continue to drink that holy spring water or alkaline rich water or hydrogen water. Continue to eat incredible live, true organic plants, vegetables, fruits. Right now I'm gonna have a little neem here. Oh yeah, just like moringa, neem does a body good. It's highly used in Ayurvedic Indian dishes and makes a great tea. It's incredible stuff. I'm sending you all my infinite beauty way through all of the ugliness that may be coming or rising, because it's a fact of life that we're in the composting, that we're in the fertilization. It's smelly, it's disgusting, it's poo, but it is literally mineral rich. And if we can find the love for the mineral rich soil as it composts, we can start to grow this whole beautiful new now earth, all of us together, start to band together, start to come together, start to work together, start to live together, start to enjoy and play and bliss out together in Satchitananda, bliss consciousness, absolute. But we have to discover the love in the ugliness, and we have to forgive more than ever before. Even if it's terrible and ugly, we have to find a way to be in the Ho'oponopono. Sending you so much love. I'm Miracle Weihua Lokahi King. Have a beautiful summer, and I look forward to sharing more. We're really close to bringing out the first initial stages of our darkroom therapy project that's going to revolutionize light deprivation, or what I coin dark fasting. And this is going to accelerate every single individual who chooses, whether you've done dark rooms before around the world in some location or this is your first time. It's going to accelerate the process so that we truly can distill and co-create in the void, in Ein Sof, what it is that we truly desire in the blackness for this planet and for future 1,000 generations. And Communiversity, I trust, sending you so much love on this day or night. Aloha.
Hi, sweetie. Hi.